In this video, I'm going to tell you 8 things I learned the first year of CRNA school. Hi, my name is Christina. Welcome to a new video. If this is your first time here and you want to become a CRNA or grow your CRNA career, start now by subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss a thing. Being a CRNA and looking back at my first year of CRNA school definitely gives me a lot of perspective. I still remember the first year of CRNA school having a new baby and transitioning into being a CRNA student. I was stressed, I was nervous, I didn't really have any guidance, and I felt that, having a baby and of course having to support my family was very difficult. And I wish I knew some of these tips and things that I learned throughout the first year. It definitely, knowing these strategies and the things that I've learned through my first year definitely can help you be successful in your first year of CRNA school. And also, it will save you time and money. So in this video, I'm going to go into detail and be very specific and straight to the point about one of the 8 things that I learned for my first year of CRNA school that can help you to be successful in your first year. And definitely skip around towards the end of the video because I'm going to give a couple of bonus tips that definitely was a great strategy that I learned and actually that I've learned that would have been better for you when you're in school. So the first thing I learned when I was in CRNA school was for the first year was to not compete as well as not compare myself to my other classmates. A lot of times, a lot of students in your class are top of the class when they were nurses. And when they were in ICU, they were very type A personality. But just remind yourself that when you're in school, it is going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but you can't compare yourself. You already did all of the hard work to getting to this point, and you have done it. But at the same time, you just got to keep focused. You are a unique human being, and we all have positive and negatives and strengths and weaknesses that set us apart from all of our other classmates. You may be really great at pathophysiology, and that may be your strength, while another classmate might have a strength in physics. And we all may not get the best grades in all of our classes, but just remind yourself, a B in 1 or 2 classes is okay. You've definitely, as long as you understand the knowledge and get the foundation, that's the most important part. Also, comparing yourself and stressing about not getting all of the best grades, it can cause you to have a lot of stress and anxiety and feel like you're worthless. And you are not worthless. You are strong. You are a powerful person. You're passionate. You love what you're doing, and you've done so much to be in this position. There's so many students who have applied to CRNA school, and you have done it. You have got it and accepted. And so you just gotta remind yourself that you're here and you're on the road to success. And you may not get the most perfect grades all the time, but that's okay, as long as you're trying your best and working as hard as you can. Also, just remind yourself, as long as you're learning everything you need to know and understand everything you need to know, have that foundation. And those things is important because when you're thinking about boards, it's about passing your board exam at the end of the day. You want to be successful in your boards. And if you're doing everything you can to be on that path, that should be it. The most important thing is that you're putting effort and you're working hard and being diligent and not giving up. That's your main focus. That was one of the things that hit me hard my first year. Another thing I learned when I was in CRNA school my first year would be when I'm studying for my exams, for my specific classes, I always thought to myself, how am I gonna study for my boards? So when I was in school, I would use Valley Anesthesia. I know nowadays a lot of people are using Apex, and those teaching material are very beneficial. I feel that they can help you with your exams in school as well as your exams when you graduate. So definitely study the content that's for class, but also try to look at board exam questions and definitely try to incorporate that into your study sessions for exams. Don't study for your exam solely for an exam and to pass it. Study for an exam to be successful and understand the foundation, and also apply it to exam board type questions for your future. So definitely I recommend another thing would be, there's an online question of the day. It's called Core Anesthesia. And every single day, they will actually post an anesthesia related question. And those questions you can do every single day, and it can kind of prepare you to have that mindset of what type of questions, what kind of strategies you need to develop for your future, for your board exams. So just try to remind yourself to study for your classes and study for those exams, but also try to apply that for your boards. Now, comment below if you have a tip or what you've learned in nursing school that helped you transition for your first year in school, and say happy pair. The next thing I learned would be books. When you first get into CRNA school, you receive a huge list of books, and you're like, oh my God, this is like gonna be thousands of dollars. Some books can be $200 to $300. And you may say to yourself, I know I'm in CRNA school and I'm broke again, and I don't want to spend all this money, but I have to. So what I recommend is actually talking to your upperclassmen, maybe the senior person who has done these classes, and see if you can borrow their book temporarily for that specific class. Either you can also take pictures or scan the book. Honestly, I did it. Or if you can get a PDF version of the book, that would be a great option too. I did that for my physics class. It was definitely helpful because nowadays we are using the internet and we are storing a lot of our information on Google Drive, Dropbox, and we use our tablet, we use our phone for reading nowadays, or even your Kindle. So definitely having it as an electronic version is definitely another option. You can also, I think on Amazon, there are options where you can rent a book. It is much cheaper than buying the book. And if it's a class or a book that you really need, that's important, definitely spend the money. But there are certain classes that you will learn that you don't need to buy the textbook. So definitely renting it or scanning it, as well as borrowing it from a friend or upperclassmen, will definitely be beneficial for you. And nothing hurts of just asking. You maybe feel a little shy, you may not really know your upperclassmen. It'll be a great way to interact with them and keep in touch with them with using their book, because you're borrowing their book. The next thing I learned is, depending on the program that you applied to and you got accepted, it may be a small class size, it may be a big class size. When I went to CRNA school, my class size was 10 to 11, while some programs can be up to 20 to 30 students. Of course, when you're with a bunch of people who are very smart, who are very passionate, who are very diligent and very headstrong, there could be a lot of differences in personalities. It's very important to, when you are in school, to stay away from the drama. Try to be neutral. Try to focus on the task ahead of you. If there's any type of gossip or drama, I always say stick away from it, because honestly, that can cause a lot of anxiety and stress. So definitely trying to say to yourself, be a little bit more submissive, and maybe just listening, but not having any input. It's very important. Another thing I learned was getting to class or lectures, clinicals early. When you think about classes, you don't want to end up getting to class just on time or before. You sometimes just want to get to class, put your books out, have a drink, relax for a little bit, review the content ahead of you. So it's definitely important to maybe get to class maybe 15 minutes earlier. As well as clinicals, I have a video, click the link above, about how to prepare for clinicals. And one of the tips I did recommend is getting the clinicals early, maybe an hour earlier, because we do have a 7:30 start a lot of times in a hospital, but you have to prepare your room, you have to meet with your preceptor. So that's another option where you should definitely get early. Another thing I learned, especially being in CRNA school, it's very important to socialize and try to spark up a conversation with your colleagues. Because at the end of the day, you will be working together, and you guys are going to look left and right, and you're going to graduate together. You're going to do this together. You're going to support each other. And it's important to develop very positive relationships with your classmates, faculty, your clinical preceptors. Try to get to know a little bit about them, their experiences, what works best for them, how they prepare for boards, because these things that you learn from other people can definitely help you in your future. Another thing I learned is that I know when we're in CRNA school, we're so stressed. We are, taking multiple classes. We have to do clinicals depending on the program you're in. Some programs are front loaded. What that means is that you do all of your lectures and classes ahead of time first for the first couple of years, and then you do straight clinicals towards the end of your program. But it may have a couple of classes where you may meet together and discuss different care plans. While other programs, they integrate. An example of this type of program would be you would have your classes and you'll have clinical immersed with each other. For example, with my program, I had a integrative approach. I took some classes in the beginning of the year, of the first semester, that was strictly getting my core courses done. But in my second semester, I still took courses and classes, but I also went to clinical 4 times a week. And it was definitely stressful. But at the same time, that's okay, because there are positives and negatives to each type of program approach. But you can still have to remind yourself that you have to have time for yourself. You may say to yourself, I don't have time. I need to study every single second of the day. But no, you have to take a break. If it takes 30 minutes to take a walk on the beach, maybe 30 minutes to go jogging, go for a walk, do your hair, cook a meal that you really like, maybe bake something, go for yoga, go to the gym. Just try to integrate yourself to be involved with some type of hobby to keep you human, keep you alive. You forget about me, but you have to try to incorporate those type of activities in your life. And another thing would be exercising, watching a movie, going out with your family. You definitely have to have that night where you take care of yourself, because you need to take breaks from the stress and the course that's in front of you. Click the link above. There's a video here of how I survived CRNA school with a newborn. One of the last tips, and a lot of things that I learned when I was in CRNA school for the first year, is to be humble, to remind yourself that this is going to be a tough process. It's going to be definitely difficult. You're definitely going to be challenged. Just remind yourself to be humble, to remind yourself that you can do this, that even though you're in school and you're working hard and you're doing everything you can, just remind yourself that it's a privilege to become a CRNA. Represent your school, represent your class, represent this whole career, and you can do this. And definitely within the first year, you'll definitely transition into knowing what to do, what ideas and tips that you'll need to do to strengthen yourself in your career. Also, after your first year, you'll kind of know your study routine, people you'll be able to go to for certain advice. You'll have your clinical kind of organized of how you're transitioning there. You'll probably know more scope of practice of anesthesia. And so just keep yourself focused on hitting that 1-year goal, and you'll start seeing a little bit of a light that helps you know that you're almost there. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to learn more about CRNAs and grow your CRNA career, click one of these videos over here, and I'll see you in the next video.